So we're going to talk about September call-ups. We're going to talk about a change I think the Dodgers need to make. We're going to have the best of Dodgers social media, talk about the new version of Shohei Ohtani, but we got some breaking news here in the Dodgers Nation studios here on the show, and that is that moments ago we learned that the Red Sox have released right-handed pitcher Walker Buehler. This is according to Chris Cotia of Mass Live, and they've already made a corresponding move. Peyton Toll was selected, and this marks the end of what was a very down year, an extremely disappointing year for Walker Buehler with the Boston Red Sox. This was supposed to be let's prove it. Let's prove it. I'm going to bet on myself. He signed a 1-year, $21 million deal. $21 million deal for 1 year for Walker Buehler. He did not get the qualifying offer from the Dodgers, and he was the hero. They got the final out that struck out Alex Verdugo to win the World Series for LA last year. And a lot of Dodgers fans saying, run it back. Bring back Walker Buehler. How could you let Walker Buehler walk? How could you let Walker Buehler get away? He was drafted by the Dodgers. He was developed by the Dodgers. He's butane. He's our postseason hero. You can't let Walker Buehler get away. But the Dodgers said, you know what? That was great. And he shouldn't ever buy a drink. He should never have any whiskey or bourbon, things that he likes to drink. He should never have to pay for that ever again when he's in Los Angeles. But the Dodgers, they saw what happened to their rotation last year. They were decimated by injuries. You had to rely on 2.5 starters, Walker Buehler, Jack Flaherty, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and a great bullpen and a great offense to win yourself the World Series. And out of respect, they moved on from Walker Buehler. Didn't offer him that qualifying offer because the inconsistency throughout the season when he almost got released a couple of different times. And thankfully for the Dodgers, he found it in the postseason. Thankfully for the Dodgers, he was great when it mattered most. And he will always be a Dodgers postseason legend. He really, really will. But you don't sign a guy just because of what he does in the postseason. I mean, if you look at last year, he had a 5.38 ERA in 16 starts. He was viewed as a long shot to make the Dodgers postseason roster at one point, and then he gets the final 3 outs of the World Series. He wasn't good. He just was not good in the regular season. But postseason, he is a different animal. He's a different beast, but that ship has sailed. It really has. And unfortunately, this year with the Boston Red Sox, things just didn't click for him. Things just did not work out. He wasn't able to recreate that success that he had in the postseason. In the postseason for the Dodgers, if he had just been like 70 or 80% of that guy, then I think that he's still in the Red Sox right now. Then I think that he's looking at a really, really nice contract in the offseason potentially. But when you looked at when the Dodgers had him on the mound last year, they had to outslug opponents. The Dodgers were 9-7 when he was on the mound, and that was thanks to a really, really good offense. But a 5.84 ERA, a 6.06 FIP, opponents rating 301 against him, slugging 542. It was not good. And then thankfully, he did find it. He absolutely found it in the postseason. I mean, he was a monster. I mean, everyone talks about Game 5 of the World Series. You all got to think of even Game 3 of the NLDS when the Dodgers kind of got their mojo back. And even though they didn't win that game, he started to bring it. And I think that he gave them a different edge. And then you also look at his performance in Game 3 of the NLCS when that series was tied and Walker Buehler went out there. He had 6 strikeouts in 4 innings. It was his only start of the NLCS. And in Game 3 of the World Series against the Yankees, he was better. He had 5 strikeouts and 5 scoreless innings in New York. Only gave up 2 hits. So he was massive in that one. And then Game 5 is going to be remembered. And it's going to be a part of Dodgers lore forever for the way that he said, hey, what would 22 do? What would Clayton Kershaw do? That's what he said that he was thinking. What would 22 do? And that is walk over to the bullpen and get warmed up, get ready to go. And he goes in there, and it felt very 1988 Oral Hershiser going out there, and you get a bulldog, the Buell dog, doing kind of what the bulldog did and close it out. And in that game 5, it was a 1-2-3 ninth. He struck out the last 2 hitters, Austin Wells and Alex Verdugo. And he was just fantastic during that stretch. He really, really was. And what he said during that Mookie podcast, it really stood out to me. I remember he said, I felt like I weighed 3 pounds. There's no one in the world that is more okay with losing game 5 than me. I've been dog-ish all year. I know that I can take the downside of it. So the upside, as weird as it sounds, I deserve the upside. I'm ready for the down. I'm ready for all that. So it was a great run. It was awesome. 15 innings in the postseason, had 13 strikeouts, 5 walks, a 3.6 ERA, and a 3.5 FIP. Unfortunately, he needed to post numbers similar to that to get the kind of contract that he was after with the Boston Red Sox. Because this year with the Red Sox, it has just been bad. It really has been. And it's unfortunate for a guy that it looked like was going to win a Cy Young at some point. I look at 2021. And 2021, I think Walker Buehler will look back at as the beginning of what will ultimately be the end of him ever being an elite pitcher. This year with the Red Sox, a 5.45 ERA, a 5.69 expected ERA, a 4.94 FIP, expected FIP of 5.88 FIP, a negative 0.7 WAR. The strikeouts per 9 down to 6.73. I mean, the walks up 441 walks per 9. This guy has just been basically Boston Noah Syndergaard for the Dodgers in 22 games, 22 starts, 23 games, 112 and a third inning. So I hate this for Walker Buehler. I hate it, but I know I'm going to get in the chat. Come on. Should the Dodgers re-sign Walker Buehler? Should you put Buehler back in the system? Now it was Joe Kelly. Now they're going to talk about Walker Buehler. Should you bring Walker Buehler back? Well, it'll be interesting to see if another team takes a flyer on him in any capacity. But the truth is, the Dodgers starting pitching is as solid as it's been ever heading into the month of September before a postseason run. And like I always say on the show, you don't want to reheat those McDonald's French fries. You don't want to reheat nachos. You ever try to reheat nachos? Especially that have cheese and jalapeno on it. Tastes gross. Doesn't matter if you put it in the air fryer, you put it in the stove. Like, it doesn't work. And I think that you just kind of have to look back at your time with Buehler and say to yourself, hey, yeah, barring being decimated by injuries, what happened in 2024 is magical, and the chance of recreating that again are slim to none. So I don't think that they're going to make a run at Walker Buehler. I highly doubt they will unless you have multiple injuries. It'd be interesting if they did have that, and would that be an option? I'm sure it possibly would. But right now, I'm like, hey, Walker Buehler, I love you, bro. I love what you did for this organization. You will never have to pay for a drink ever in this town again. But still, I think no on Walker Buehler. Let's get in some comments though. 199 breaking: the Red Sox release Walker Buehler. It's from Eric Sanchez. Don Davis: I would have thought they'd release Dustin May before Walker Buehler. Nope, that's not the case. Justin Lamas: Walker Buehler released. He has 2 days to find a way to attach to a playoff team's roster if he wants to be in the playoffs. And that's the thing. That's the thing, right? You got to be on a roster by September 1st to qualify for the postseason. And you're seeing with Buehler something that really should make you feel even more thankful for how Shohei Ohtani looks. Shohei Ohtani just threw 7 pitches in a game and found a curveball and had a season-high 9 strikeouts, and he's throwing 100 miles per hour. He had a brace surgery, not a full second Tommy John in the traditional sense, but the truth is there are no guarantees when you have a first Tommy John, when you have a second Tommy John. Sometimes guys come back and they look like Nathan Eovaldi. Sometimes guys come back and they look like Walker Buehler. And it hasn't all been bad. Like I said, he'll always have the 2024 World Series. But that guy that we saw in 2021 that was carrying that Dodgers staff along with Julio Urias, and then they added Max Scherzer, that Buehler was driven into the ground. And I'm not going to place this on Max Scherzer directly for Mr. Dead Arm. If you want to talk about guys that should never have to pay for a drink, Walker Buehler's in that class. If you had to talk about guys that you just want to pour your drink on, I think Max Scherzer could be one of those guys. He made the business decision. He had the dead arm. And then the arm magically was reincarnated when it came time to pick up a pen and sign a record deal with the Mets. If Max Scherzer doesn't go down and Walker Buehler doesn't force himself to go on short rest twice during that postseason, you wonder. You only got so many bullets in that arm. And when you pitch on short rest at a high level in a high stretch situation, it takes its toll on you. And to be honest, if I have to think of one word to describe the Walker Buehler experience, it is fast. And I think of one of my favorite movies ever, and that's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And what's the quote? Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. And when he came up, he was throwing fast. He quickly emerged. He fast stepped onto the scene in Game 3 of the World Series against the Red Sox. And it was pretty fast when people were starting to mention him as the future torchbearer of the ace of this organization. It was going to go Kershaw to Buehler, and then he was going to be that next guy. And all of a sudden, as fast as that went, he's out of the league currently. So it hurts. It hurts. But I'm not taking a flyer on Buehler. I love the guy, but that's not going to happen unless you want to stash him, develop him maybe for next year. I mean, I don't know. And there's really no word. There's really no kind of way around it. It also kind of makes you go back to Jack Flair. One point on Jack Flair. There's been all this talk this year about the Dodgers, and did Friedman cook this offseason? Yeah, he didn't cook a filet mignon. He cooked some top ramen. He cooked that bowl of Cheerios with the 2 raw hot dogs in it and the slice of cheese. Right? No. You're starting to look now. Wait a second. Blake Snell looks elite. Tanner Scott looks better. Kirby Yates looks better. And he did not bring back Walker Buehler. He did not bring back Jack Flaherty. If Jack Flaherty was on this team, he wouldn't sniff the postseason roster. Jack Flaherty this year with the Tigers has an ERA almost as high as Buehler's at 4.87. Not terrible. The FIP's better. The expected number's a little better. But the point is, some of the best signings are the ones that you do not make. And I think from the starting rotation standpoint, this rotation's in a good spot. But all right, let's take some comments here. What are your thoughts on Walker Buehler? Is there anyone, for me, I want to see Walker Buehler at Dodger Stadium. It's basically sitting in the dugout club, supporting his old friends. I love Buehler, but I think this rotation's in a good spot. I really do. Let's see. There's me. We got some comments down below. Like Kike, he could be much more productive in October. We already have Roki in AAA. We got Jose Aguirre says Buehler was already injured when he got drafted. He was already a risk. There's no need for Buehler. We got Justin Lamas. To be fair, we're already dealing with our own version of Buehler and Flaherty with Roki Sasaki. Totally different situation. Totally different. Roki Sasaki's a guy that's never proved it, and you have him under team control for 6 years, including this year. He's a project. He is an absolute project. So I would not put them in the same bucket. But all right, guys, switching gears real quick. We'll talk some more Buehler later during the 7th inning stretch.